You know, whenever you see those global education rankings, Singapore is pretty much always at the top. But what's their secret sauce? I mean, what are they doing so differently? Well, it's not just about memorizing facts. It's a really, really well-designed system, especially when it comes to their English syllabus. So today, we're going to put it under the microscope and see how it stacks up against the education system in Bangladesh to see if we can find some powerful lessons that could really change how we think about learning.
And that really brings us to the million-dollar question, right? For anyone in education, this is it. How do you prepare students for jobs and challenges that, let's be honest, don't even exist yet? It's just not enough anymore to teach grammar rules and vocabulary lists. We have to be cultivating adaptable thinkers, real communicators, and that's exactly what we're going to dig into today.
So here's the game plan for our journey today. First, we'll look at the big picture, the educational blueprints for both countries. Then, we're going to zoom way in on Singapore's really innovative approach, unpacking their philosophy and the actual mechanics behind their teaching. From there, we'll pivot to Bangladesh's system. And then, at the end, we'll pull it all together to see what key lessons we can find.
All right, let's start peeling back the layers. It really is a tale of two very different systems. On one hand, you've got this finely tuned engine of innovation, and on the other, a nation that's laser-focused on laying a solid groundwork for millions and millions of young students.
So let's kick things off with Singapore. Now, here's what really sets them apart. They start with a super simple but profound question. Not what should we teach, but why are we teaching it? Their entire English syllabus is built around a crystal clear vision of the kind of person they want to help shape for the 21st century.
Just take a look at this. This is their framework for 21st century competencies. And honestly, it's a masterclass in how to think about education. See what's right there at the very center, the heart of it all? Core values. That's the foundation. Everything else, social skills, emotional skills, global awareness, it all grows out from that core. It's all about building a whole person, not just someone who's good at taking tests.
So what does that actually look like for a student? Well, it boils down to three really important goals. They want to nurture empathetic communicators, people who can actually connect with others. They want discerning readers, who can sort fact from fiction in a world flooded with information. And they want creative inquirers. Students who aren't afraid to ask tough questions and solve real problems. They're not just teaching English, they're building character.
Okay, having a big vision is great, but how do you actually make that happen in a real classroom on a Tuesday morning? That's where Singapore's teaching engine comes into play. So let's pop the hood and see how it all works. This is it, the Singapore Teaching Practice, or STP. Think of it as the roadmap for every single teacher in the country. It's got the core teaching practices right there in the middle, but it's all connected. It's about understanding your students, knowing your subject, and tying it all back to that bigger curriculum philosophy. It's a completely holistic way of looking at teaching.
And here's where it gets really interesting. They have this set of principles they call CLLIPS. If the STP model is the hardware, CLLIPS is like the software that runs on it. It stands for 6 key ideas, like learner-centeredness, which just means putting the student first, and spiral progression, this idea that you keep revisiting concepts, going deeper each time. It's a very smart way to build lasting knowledge.
Okay, so if CLIPS is the software, then ACoLADE is the operating system. It's the step-by-step process for how an actual lesson should unfold. So a teacher might start with A for activating learning, get the kids hooked with a good question, and then move all the way through to E for enabling application, where students actually get to use what they've learned. It brings this incredible structure and purpose to every single class.
All right, let's shift gears now and take a look at Bangladesh. Here, the challenge and the focus are a bit different. It's all about building a solid, strong, and accessible educational foundation for a huge and growing population of young learners.
So the system in Bangladesh is really structured to give every child a consistent starting point. We're talking grades 1 to 5. It starts with the absolute essentials, Bangla, English, and math. And then later, subjects like science and global studies are added in. And because you're dealing with millions of students, having a standardized curriculum from the National Curriculum and Textbook Board is absolutely key.
Now, if you want to understand the main goal of primary education in Bangladesh, you just have to remember one number. That's it. 29. This number is like the North Star for the entire system.
So what's so special about 29? Well, the entire primary curriculum is designed to make sure that by the time a student finishes the 5th grade, they've mastered 29 very specific skills. They call them terminal competencies. This could be anything from writing a simple sentence in English to solving a basic math problem. It's a very clear, focused, and outcome-driven approach.
Okay, so this is where it all comes together. We've looked at two very different systems. Now it's time to build a bridge between them. What can Bangladesh learn from Singapore's model to build on its own really strong foundation? Let's check out the possibilities.
This table really lays it all out, doesn't it? Let's break it down. First, you've got Singapore's focus on those big, holistic outcomes versus Bangladesh's laser focus on 29 specific skills. So what's the opportunity? To maybe weave some of those soft skills, like empathy and creativity, into that existing framework. Second, Singapore gives teachers these amazing frameworks like CLLIPS and ACoLADE. In Bangladesh, it's more about a standardized curriculum. So the lesson there might be about empowering teachers, giving them more tools to be creative. And finally, look at how they define literacy. Singapore is talking about multiliteracies, digital, media, you name it, while Bangladesh is building that crucial foundation. The big opportunity here is to broaden the very definition of what it means to be literate in our modern world.
So where does this all leave us? Well, we've got two very distinct and, frankly, very valid models of education. One is kind of like a rocket ship, designed for exploration and innovation. The other is like a pyramid, built for incredible stability and strength. The next chapter in education is probably about finding a way to get the best of both worlds.
And that brings us right back to the fundamental question we started with. Are we educating our kids for the tests of today, or for the challenges of a world that we can't even imagine yet? And look, this isn't just a question for Bangladesh or Singapore. It's a question for all of us. And how we answer it, well, that's going to define the future for generations to come.